I thought it felt really, if you ever seen that show, Three's Company, Mrs. Roper-ish type, because it was like really loose and flowy. And I think she wears, I don't know what those dresses are called. I forget that are really loose. She's wearing that all the time. And I felt like Mrs. Roper in that. But then I started like just looking at it and I styled it. And then I was like, yes, I like this dress. This is good for this humidity. It's good for, it's just a beautiful dress overall. You can dress it up or dress it down, depending on the fabric that you use and the accessories you put together, right? Hi DJ, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to my existing viewers and subscribers. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video, we are going to do a pattern review. I wanted to just sew something this weekend and I did. And I'm so excited to bring this pattern review to you. It's actually one of the new Simplicity patterns. It's Simplicity 9702. I made view C, and I have to tell you, loving this dress. I am loving it. I haven't had a chance to wear it yet because it's been freezing in Texas. It was ice storm and power went out and now it's raining and it's humid and yeah, so it's all of that good stuff. But as soon as I'm able to, this dress is coming on my body. I'm actually going to make a second one, and I think the fabric that I'm going to use for it is really going to look nice. So let me show you that fabric, because I think that you'll be like, yes, that'll look really good. Give me a second. All right. So if you remember a while ago, I bought this fabric on Mood, and it is a Zimmerman fabric. So really pretty. I love it. And I just, when I saw this pattern, I went on to Simplicity. What are they called now? Something Delightful. And I bought this. Oh, is it? No, this is just Simplicity. I'm thinking Vogue. Scratch that. So I went on Simplicity and I saw this and I was like, I have to have that dress. Like, I'm going to make that dress. And I had fabric in my stash, and I promise I get to the review, in my stash since 2018, and I just did not know what to do with it. Like, you just gotta wait for that perfect pattern. Well, I think I found the perfect pattern, and you will see, you will agree with me when you see the dress. But I thought this would be a beautiful to make that dress. I don't know that I'll be able to keep the zagged edges. We shall see. But I'm loving it. I put it on. At first I thought it felt really, if you ever seen that show, Three's Company, Mrs. Roper-ish type, because it was like really loose and flowy. And I think she wears, I don't know what those dresses are called. I forget that are really loose. She's wearing that all the time. And I felt like Mrs. Roper in that. But then I started like just looking at it and I styled it. And then I was like, yes, I like this dress. This is good for this humidity. It's good for, it's just a beautiful dress overall. You can dress it up or dress it down, depending on the fabric that you use and the accessories you put together, right? So I think I'm going to make it again, and I think I'm going to make it in this, and I feel like it's really going to look like a Zimmerman dress. So yeah, I had bought lining for it. So I've got the fabric, I got the lining. I was going to make a different type of dress with this. I even had buttons here. Then I decided, you know what? I think this is going to look better in this. So yeah, let me show you the dress. I cannot wait. It's beautiful. And here it is. Yeah. The only thing I had to do with this pattern, actually, is it the only thing I did to this pattern? Two things I had to do with this pattern is the neckline was really, really low. So, and I knew that just looking at the pattern here, I was like, I don't like anything lower. I don't even like this, so I'm always going like this, right? So I knew that from the beginning. So what I did was I took the pattern, I laid it down, and then I took another piece of paper and I just drew in what I wanted, and you know, didn't do anything to the top, just here in the front. And then it was still a little low. So before I constructed everything, I basted it and I put it on. And I thought, you know, I still don't really like to show a whole lot, you know, going on in there. So what I ended up doing is I didn't add more fabric or anything like that. What I ended up doing was, instead of doing the points, so you kind of put it together at the points like this, I crossed it. So I laid it on top of each other, and then I just did a quick little stitch here to keep it in place. So now that it sits just like this, so it's covered, right? And I love that. No zippers, no buttons, no nothing. Just is a pullover dress. The other thing, I'm going to put her on top of a stool so she's taller and you can see the flare of it. The other thing, I knew that it was going to be long on me. I'm only 5 feet tall. So what I did was I laid all the pieces out as is, you know, the way that I had traced them. I laid them all out and then measured, you know, from the shoulder down to the bottom of the pattern piece. And I already knew it was like 5 inches too long. Excuse me. So I'm going to take a quick drink of my coffee. So what I did was measured myself and then decided how short to cut the pattern, my trace pattern piece, rather than the pattern itself. So what I did was I traced the full length, right? Instead of cutting it, I folded it up so that way, because it's just a rectangle piece. So I folded that piece up by like 3 inches. That way it gave me the length, enough length to play with. So if I wanted to do it midi or keep it to my ankles, I could. So the only thing I have to do to this dress right now is hem it. But I'm going to go ahead and put her on a stool. Let me move this over. I don't have a sewing chair, so I took that chair from the bedroom. I don't know why my husband bought that chair. I don't even really like it, but he bought it. And he puts it in the bedroom, and I want to reupholster it, to be honest with you. Then maybe I'll like it. But I use it just to sew because I got tired of moving this. All right. I'm going to have to hold her because she's going to fall. Okay. Well, then you can't see the flare. So here is the flare, all the ruffles. It's 3 tiers. And at first when I was sewing it in the evening. So you know what? What if I put her in the chair? Then you could really see. Okay, if I don't touch her, we'll be good. Let's hope she doesn't fall. So there's the bodice, then this mid piece, then the upper piece or the middle piece, and the lower piece. And so I constructed the bodice. You do you use bias binding to create the chase inside, to put the elastic to create this type of sleeve. Maybe I need to just tilt you up a little. And so this was easy. Now what I didn't like, so what I'm going to do differently is that this has a facing. I would have, you know, I didn't think about it because I just wanted to sew. I wanted to make something, because you ever get in that mood where you just want to make something, but you know, kind of like something different, not something like you always make. So I thought, I've been wanting to make this. I thought it was going to be an easy sew. Well, it is an easy sew. It just takes a long time. And I say a long time, and I'll tell you why. You probably already know. But so let's get back to the facing. I'm getting off track here. So the facing piece, I don't like that. Had I really thought about it, I would have made another piece and just, you know, did a lining inside. It would have given it a better finish, right? So now you see the facing there. I'm not going to take this apart and redo it. I'm just going to leave it as is. But the second one, I will do the lining, since I do have enough fabric to do a lining in the, and probably just the top. we shall see. But anyways, that's how you do the top. So, you know, you got the back piece, the front bodice, and then the sleeves. Very easy. But what gets me is that it has you constructing this and then cutting this and constructing this together and then putting this to this. I found that a little difficult because it was a lot of fabric. So I think when I make the second one, I will construct this piece here. So putting this middle piece, constructing it to the top, and then constructing this piece and then adding it to the rest of it, because I just felt like it was just a lot of fabric going on. So if you don't have a lot of workspace, as you can see my table there, I don't have a lot of sewing space to have all this fabric. So I think if I do this section together, then you could really see the fit, right, of how that top piece, because that's the most important, how that's going to fit you. So I would like definitely baste it and then, you know, try it on and then finish the rest. Now for me, I thought this was a lot of fabric, and maybe I'm just not used to this type of a dress. It's a lot of fabric. You cut 2 of the middle pieces, 3 of the bottom piece, and that confused me. So the middle piece was easy. You know, you put it together, you do the little gatherings, and then it fits right in. The last one was a little, because you have to, you know, this one you do with the side seams. Now, the bottom piece, you do not add with, you don't connect the side seams. You actually put little dots, and then you connect the side seams to the dots, and then do the gathering all the way around. Now, I did not read the instructions when I first did it, and I tried to do it with the side seams, and I'm like, this shit is not working. Excuse my language. It is not fitting. It, you know, it was frustrating me, right? And I thought, take a deep breath, come back, and then look at this again, right? So I took a chocolate cake break because I had made some almond chocolate cake, and I thought I just needed a break, right? Who does chocolate just comforts me? So I was like, yes, let me just eat this cake. And I was thinking about it, and then I'm like, let me take it apart. I had only basted it in, so let me take it apart, read these instructions again. Well, I didn't read it the first time. I'll just be honest. I kind of glanced through it. So let me read the instructions and then try to do this. And that's where I was like, oh, stupid me. That's why we made the dots. I didn't even think about the dots, right? So you put the side seam to the dots and then gather all the way around. So that's how the bottom piece is. So if you're wanting to make that, just remember that the last tier is going to be more than the second tier, and that's how you're not going to align the side seams. They are not going to align. So right now, like my side seams are not aligned because you're going to have 3 seams because there's 3 pieces there. So yeah, that's how I did the dress. Now I just serged the inside of the dress. I sewed it all together, and then I just did one, you know, nice clean serge, and I'll bring that closer in just a little bit and show you. So now it looks like, because I had like all of this bulkiness everywhere, because, you know, there's a lot of pieces, there's a lot of fabric, a lot of gathering. The thing that took the longest was the gathers. So if you're wanting to construct this, like say one evening you cut the pieces out and you're like, you know, I'm not ready to put it away, start the gathering, you know, start the stitching for the gathering, and then construct it, because then it'll be a lot faster than doing it as you go, because that's what took the longest for me was the gathers. Now, I was like thinking, I think, you know, machines have to have a gathering foot, right? But it might be too much gather. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to see if my machine actually has one and kind of test it out, because, oh my God, did that take forever to try to gather and then pin them into place, right? The top piece, not so bad. This piece, not so bad. Still took a while. The last piece is what took a long time, because we're dealing with 3 pieces of rectangles. So yeah, that is the dress. Now let me turn her around. The back is just a simple back, no zippers, no buttons, beautiful dress. It fits amazing. I ended up doing a size 8, I believe. Yeah, I did a size 8, and that fits perfect on the top. And of course the bottom is all loose. Let me move this. The bottom is all loose and gathered, but I am in love with this, the way that it looks, the way that it made me feel when I put it on. I mean, it gave me a whole different look. And I forgot that clothes do that, right? They give you a whole different look. And I just felt like a princess in this, or a queen. So yeah, the facing, I need to tack it down. I'm gonna tack, I did do stitch in the ditch at the shoulders, but I think I still need to tack it down, like maybe here in the back, and then maybe another little tack down here somewhere, because I did tack it here, and then another tack here, because it's wanting to come out. And I don't like that. So you can kind of see here, it's kind of like showing the seam. I did do an understitch and it's still trying to come out. But yeah, the sleeves, you do the bias binding. Let me bring you a little bit closer so you could see that. Let's bring you down a little bit. So bias binding, I just stitched it. And then what I did was stitched here, you know, against the seam to close it off. So I did an overlapping so that it closed it off. So yeah, that's how you did that. You put the elastic in there. Now I did not use the elastic guide that it had. I did cut it, but when I put it around my arm, I was like, I don't want my blood to stop. I don't want my circulation to stop, because it was kind of fitted. So I just went and got the elastic, measured my arm and how I wanted to feel, cut it to that, you know, adding enough for the seam to, you know, to cross it over and stitch it down. So I did that, and yeah, I really love this. I think I did an amazing job on the sleeve. I mean, not to toot my own horn, I never really do, but honestly, I love how this dress came out. I love the sleeves. I'm even thinking of maybe making a blouse out of this, extending this down, right? Extending it down and having a blouse, because I love how that looks. Or finding a pattern where I can utilize these sleeves as a blouse, because I love those sleeves. They were just loose and flowy, especially for humid, hot days. Now let me move you back a little bit. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out whether I make a top out of this, or I find another pattern that I can use the sleeves. But this dress, love it. So yeah, if you're looking to make this, even a beginner, if you know how to do gathers, you are going to be fine making this dress. Again, it was very easy. It just took a long time because of the gathers. Plus I was confused about the third tier, because they have you cut. So the middle one is two pieces, and the bottom one is 3 pieces. And yeah, that's what really confused me, because I was aligning the side seams as you normally would in any construction garment. But with this is a little different because of the gathers, and I get it. And that's only if you're making view C. I don't know about the other views. Well, I don't think these 2 views you're gonna have that problem. C, you probably are only having 2. That was the other thing, is I basted just 2 of the pieces together and then put it on here, and it was still flowy, but it did not have like the ruffle at the bottom. It didn't look like, I thought, no, that doesn't look right. So I added the 3rd piece to it because I couldn't figure out how to construct it. So that was my fault for not reading. And I had never really done a dress like this, you know, where there was a lot of ruffles. Or a lot of gathering, I should say, not ruffles, but a lot of gathering. I've never constructed a garment like that. It does have pockets, so if you want pockets, you can add it or you can omit them. It's up to you. I loved them. I put them on. They're perfect. Again, side pockets here. I just feel like, you know, I kind of took it in like this when I tried it on, and I thought, that looks so nice. So I was thinking of taking it in like on this tier here. If it didn't have pockets, I would have done it just to give it some definition, because I just felt, again, like Miss Roper, you know, with that loose gown that she wears. If you've seen Three's Company, you know what I'm talking about. But then after a while, I felt like, oh, this is beautiful. I went and I showed my husband, and he's like, wow, that's a nice dress. You made that? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's what you were making upstairs? And I'm like, yeah. But I love it. Again, I'm thinking of using these sleeves on another pattern for either a blouse or figuring out how I can make this a blouse, this top. And then, again, on the next one that I make, I will do a tutorial on that because that's going to be soon because I want that. I'm just trying to make up all of my fabrics, and since I'm finding the patterns to fit like this, I feel is perfect. And I've had this, I bought this at Joann's in 2018. It's a linen mix. And I just didn't know, like I didn't have that right dress, and I was going to use it on the Vogue, and then I said no. Then I bought this, the Zimmerman fabric, to make that other Vogue dress. Let me see if I have the pattern. Okay, I don't have it out to show you, but that's what I was going to use it for. But no, I think that Zimmerman fabric is going to look beautiful in this, because I feel like it looks Zimmer-esque. You know, you can even add ruffles here. You can add, you know, lace if you wanted to on one of them, and ask for crocheted lace or something. But you could do what you want. I like it exactly the way it is. Again, lower in the front, so letting you know now, if this is something you want to do, just go ahead and, you know, take the pattern piece and then add it and then draw it into the top. So this way you don't have to redo the whole, you know, you don't want to add here, you just want to add here. And I think that I need to alter it a little bit to add a little bit more. So that way I don't have to crisscross it, but it'll bring more fabric in and not be so low, because it was like really low. You could see my bra low. And that's just not something that I'm comfortable with. And then I thought, well, what if I made the bodice smaller, but the bodice fit perfect? Like I have movement, I could breathe in it. So I was like, no, that's not gonna be the answer. So for this one, that quick fix was just to cross it, and it looks good. So you can kind of tell here, because, you know, here it should be pointed. As you look here, if you look at the pattern, well, maybe you can't really see. It's like, it's a point, right? And you can kind of tell, but I was like, I don't really care. It doesn't look bad. No one's going to know that it's supposed to have a point but me. And I thought, no, I'm just going to leave it as, I like it. So, but I am going to fix the pattern so that it does have the exact, for this particular, because this was an expensive fabric. So definitely want to make this the right way. So I'm definitely going to fix that piece. So whenever I get to that point of making that tutorial, I will show you how I did that, because I'm I added an inch, but I think I need to do maybe 1.5 inches more on each side. Well, you do it on one piece, so but you're going to cut it on both. So yeah, that is my take on, I know I did more than a review on here, right? I talked about another pattern piece, but if you're wanting to make Simplicity 9702, this is a nice pattern to make. It's quick, other than the gathers. Beginner friendly, yes. So stay tuned for our tutorial on this. I think that, again, this is going to look great. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon.